here we are. This is Sex Love Psychedelics, and I'm your host, Dr. Kat, bringing you psychosexual conversations that will leave you intellectually turned on and hungry for more.
So when I talk to people about BDSM, sometimes I've gotten before, I'm thinking of one conversation in particular, where she said, if you're doing these, if you're going through these scenes and you're doing something, maybe that's working on, I think she was referring to masochism. And she's like, you're re-traumatizing people over and over again when you're doing these scenes or you're doing these things. How would you explain to somebody that this bringing into these experiences isn't re-traumatizing?
I think it could be the opposite of re-traumatizing. I think it could be deeply healing. And the part of it that makes it so is that it's the power of the choice that the sub has, that the client has, right? It's because they are choosing to experience this on their own free will and their own, like, this is what they want. They're trying to find a way to find pleasure in something that used to be awful. They want to get off on this. And if you could get off on the thing that you thought was the worst thing that could have happened, you've found that's the magic. You've completely transmuted this thing that was painful and awful and ugly into something ecstatic and beautiful and incredible. And I think that it's always the choice. The power is in the choice. And when you feel like you are choosing this, you're choosing the person to bring you through this pain or this challenge, then it's powerful to say, that thing that I thought I would always run away from, I want to face it now with somebody that I trust, admire, look up to, and love. I've had subs, or I think of one sub in particular who came to me with like these race car tracks. They're like they were the same like tracks that his mom used to use to like hit him with. And so he brought them to me and wanted me to just paddle him with it. And so with every stroke, I just gave it to him, but also told him I'm doing this out of love. And he felt that, and he felt he just felt the love in each stroke. And it was just deeply beautiful and healing. There were tears shed on mine and his, and it felt like we were able to revisit an experience, but found a way to find love in it and this eroticism in it, and to play with it, to make light of it. And I think that that's what's so powerful, to make light of something, to keep it light, to not make it so heavy. Then you move this thing that was inside you and stuck and stagnant, and move that energy around. And if you could like move that around and even get off on it and release it, then you've really sublimated this thing that was the crisis, that was the trauma, into something light and beautiful and in your power.
Yeah, using the power of eros or ecstasy, which we know increases our capacity, our threshold to be able to hold some of these more challenging or feelings of disgust or fear or otherwise. Yeah. Wow. And to really emphasize too what you're saying there, they do have the power. As much as we're playing with power, it is playing with power. But
Yes.
you are on equal power when you set the parameters, the consent, you're establishing the scene, and it's only like in the scene that you're playing out these rules of power.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the like misconceptions that we kind of have, that we think that the sub is weak or powerless, but the sub is actually so powerful, right? They are the ones choosing to have this experience. And they couldn't have any, like, they had to have power to begin with to be able to give their power to someone. And so that in itself would say that, yeah, the sub has so much power, just as much as the dom. It's an equal footing, and it's about playing with power. and not a displacement and an imbalance of it.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. Thanks for tuning in, lovers. And if you want to experience more ecstasy and sexual liberation, head over to sexlovepsychedelics.com and learn about how you can join me for any one of my online or live events. And while you're there, grab my free guide on sex and psychedelics. Remember, this podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please contact your healthcare provider and local law before pursuing any of the products or psychedelics discussed. And one final note here. I make this show specifically for you. If you're loving the show, then be sure to leave me a review in iTunes or Spotify to let me know. Happy to be here and happy to serve. I'll see you next time on Sex Love Psychedelics.